but we made a little bargain that if I play Yu-Gi-Oh today, then Curtis would participate in the 24-hour readathon.
I'm gonna read the words and the words are gonna go in and I'm gonna understand what's happening.
It definitely has problematic content, but like, when has that ever stopped me reading or enjoying a romance before? So over this weekend, I am hosting a 24-hour readathon with my patrons. I'm hoping to make it a regular thing. I'm usually a little bit strapped for time, and by the time it comes to the weekend, I'm tired and I don't want to spend like such intensive blocks of time reading. But as I have not gone back to work properly yet and resumed like full work speed, I thought now would be a good time. So you've heard me say a lot recently that I just really need to binge some romance. What usually happens with me is if I'm in the mood to read romance, I'll read a ton of it back to back and then I'll burn it out of my system for like a good 2-3 months. So I am aiming to get through 2 books in these 24 hours. It's running from 7 p.m. this evening. It's currently almost 5 and it's going from 7 p.m. this evening till 7 p.m. tomorrow. I'm not a fan of midnight to midnight ones anymore because I go to bed at the latest I'm asleep by 2. My typical time is that I get in bed at about 11 and I go to sleep at about 12:30, and I'm not very good at taking a nap in the evening to prepare myself and then staying up all through the night. I don't like being awake in the middle of the night anymore. It makes me feel real lonely. So we're doing 7 until 7 so that we can all sleep if we want to at a normal time, and I'm doing 2 sets of reading sprints, one that goes 7 till midnight tonight and one that goes midday until 7 tomorrow. So instead of it being like a full solid 24 hours of reading, it's like 2 extended blocks, which I feel like just worked for me a little bit better. But the books that I'm hoping to read during this readathon, the first one is Layla by Colleen Hoover. This one is one of her more like romantic suspense novels. I don't know if it's a thriller, I think it's more of a spooky one, but I know something about this book that I'm not sure if it's a spoiler, so I don't want to tell you guys until I've read it and I know whether that is a spoiler or not. But this one follows a guy whose wife is in an accident and she takes a while to recover, but once she's recovered, he takes her to the place where they fell in love, and it becomes apparent really quickly that while she seems to have recovered physically, she may not have fully recovered mentally. So I'm really excited about this one, but I've heard that it's also really boring, so I'm a little bit worried about that, especially as I want to read it in a short space of time. And then the second one is All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. This one is a second chance romance between a couple who've been married for a good like 5-10 years and their marriage is starting to lose its spark. So I'm aiming to read the first one hopefully in the first block of sprints and the second one in the second block of sprints tomorrow. So wish me luck, because I have to get through like 60 pages an hour tonight and then 45 pages an hour tomorrow, which is a little bit more doable because I read romance really quick. I mean, that seems like a lot, 60 pages an hour, when there's going to be like talking breaks in between as well. But I would love to squeeze in another romance, but I just don't think I'm going to have time, and my TBR is really tight this month. So if I do manage to finish these 2, then I'm going to continue Dragon Haven by Robin Hobb, which I'm currently 170 pages into. If I could finish all 3 of these today, that would be amazing. I don't think it's gonna happen though, because this is 570 pages. As a little addition to this readathon, which was organized, this was arranged today, Curtis wanted someone to play Yu-Gi-Oh with him, and I play strategy card games and I love like nerdy games like that, but I don't really like Yu-Gi-Oh, so he's always trying to get me to play, and he wanted to play today but he didn't want to go out and see his friends and play, so he asked me and I wasn't feeling it. But we made a little bargain that if I play Yu-Gi-Oh today, then Curtis would participate in the 24-hour readathon. I was just about to tell you guys as well what he's reading, but instead, sometime over the next couple of hours before the readathon starts, I'll get him to come in and tell you. But it is 2 hours and 7 minutes until go time, so I am going to make dinner and then we'll probably watch an episode of The Witcher and then we'll set up for sprints and we'll get this readathon on the road. Wish me luck. Hello everybody, welcome to the start of the 24-hour readathon. Hope you're all excited. There's a lot of you guys here. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Wishing all of these people would just head out so we can talk. I could tell by the smile when you asked where to write your name.
Oh god.
What are you reading?
I'm reading A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's good.
What are you up to?
I am up to 345. Can I say anything? Spoiler-wise.
No.
Oh.
Do you like Resend?
Isn't there supposed to be a video just for this?
Well, thank you for that segue, Curtis. Yes, if you stay tuned on my channel, there will be a video just for this.
I'm as mixed as the main characters.
Oh, I see. Torn between two men.
Well,
Two big, strong, fairy men.
The other side at this point.
Aren't we all? Didn't take us long to get there.
But now this thing's happened, I'm kind of curious.
And if you want to hear more, stay tuned.
Just a theory at this point. Yeah.
How do you feel you'll get on in the 24 hours? No, 23. 22 and a half.
I'm focused.
Good. Do you feel ready?
I'm gonna read books. And,
Nice.
I'm gonna turn pages and do what I can to help the team.
I knew. I was like, this feels like one of those shitty after football interviews where they say nothing but use loads of words.
I'm gonna read the words and the words are gonna go in and I'm gonna understand what's happening.
Good.
Wish I met you at 16. Wish I could have taken you to prom. Better late than never. I see us spending days together, sketching pictures.
Okay, so it is now 1:30 a.m. I am just about to head to bed. The sprints ended a little while ago and I took a short by short, I mean like hour and a half fortnight break, but during the sprints I made it to page 200 in Layla, so I don't actually have that much left. I've got 90 pages and I'm gonna go and read maybe 2 chapters in bed before I go to sleep. I did get the synopsis of this a little bit wrong, so it is different than what I expected going into it. But we're following this guy called Leeds in here, and I said that it was his wife who got in an accident. It wasn't his wife, she didn't get in an accident. So he met this girl at her sister's wedding when he was playing in the band, and they kind of, well, they hit it off straight away. They slept together. He had this feeling that he'd never felt before with anyone else. They stayed an extra few days. She ended up going home with him and she just kind of never left. And then 2 months into the relationship, she gets shot in the head and ends up in hospital, and she has like a 6-month recovery period. I think she's shot twice actually, and she's starting to recover, but she still has memory loss. She essentially suffered some brain damage and she's recovering from that. So she has things like memory loss, she has an anxiety disorder now, all of that kind of stuff. They've been feeling some distance. Their relationship isn't what it was, but he still believes that he loves her. So he takes her to the place where her sister got married, which was this B&B, to try and rekindle their relationship, put her at ease a bit, put her in like a location and a setting where she's been happy and comfortable before, and try and get back to where they were and help her out a little bit. As soon as they get there, very strange things start to happen and Layla starts to behave very erratically. So I'm reading this and it's one of those like what the fuck books. Like I'm reading it, I'm like, I can't believe that this is happening here. I'm not sure how I feel about it because I think that this might be Colleen Hoover's first book told exclusively from a male perspective, and while that is interesting, I'm really torn on whether I like this guy or not. So content warnings, I guess, for like emotional cheating. It does say in the synopsis in here like another woman is mentioned, and also for gaslighting in here. I feel like the plot twist at the end, there was 2 possible ones and I feel like I'm leaning towards one more than the other. It could still surprise me and be neither, but there's one that I feel like it's going to be that's going to make everything else that's happened in this book kind of okay, but I'm not sure if that is going to make anything okay, because even though the end result will absolve the main character from all of the stuff that's gone on in the middle, he didn't know at the time that all of this stuff was going on that it would all be okay in the end if that plot twist does happen. So does that make it okay? Probably not. So like I'm interested in this. I'm reading it quickly, although the pace isn't like super quick. Some of it's not all that interesting. It has a very different feel to Colleen Hoover books as well, because it doesn't feel like a romance. It does feel a little bit like a romantic suspense book. Like there's romantic elements in here, but it's more about getting to the bottom of Layla's erratic behavior and everything that's associated with that. And like I said, he's been a bit of a douche. I'm not happy with his behavior in this. So my enjoyment level at the minute is like so. I feel like if this delivers a really good plot twist, it has the potential to be a 4-star read. I don't think it's going to be a 5, but at the minute I'm sitting at 3 stars. So I'm going to go read those couple of chapters, and then my plan is before sprints tomorrow to finish this book up so that I'm not behind and I can start All Your Perfects tomorrow in the sprints and finish it before the end of the readathon, which I do think in 7 hours. I will have time to do that because when the sprints ended on this one, I only had 90 pages left. Curtis as well is doing really well with Akamaf. I think he's read about 170 pages tonight. So far, all's well. And surprisingly or unsurprisingly, because I know myself, 24-hour readathons don't usually work out well for me, and I don't want to jinx it because I still have a whole day tomorrow up until 7 p.m. and a whole book to read. But I think that doing 7 till 7 and having it as like 2 extended reading sessions instead of 1 full block of, oh my god, I want to sleep so bad, was really a good idea for me.
Somehow it keeps getting better. I waited forever, but better late than never. Better late than never.
Good morning, it's going on for 9:30 a.m. I have croaky voice because I've only just woke up, and I made it to page 225, so I have 65 pages of this to read, preferably before the sprints this morning. So I've come in here. I normally don't sit in here and read, or like sit in here very often at all actually, but it has natural daylight, and the one thing that I hate about my house is that the living room doesn't have any natural daylight, and a lot of the rooms only have minimal, unless it's like upstairs at the back of the house. So I thought I would take advantage of the daylight, because there's nothing more depressing than not getting enough daylight in the day, and finish this one up, and then I'll get ready for the day.
Good days and bad days, I know I can call you, 'cause you always have answers to problems that I
So
never solve.
Layla is complete. I'm just struggling to get comfy on my beanbag chair. I was kind of right about what I thought, like the plot twist. I did guess it like just over 100 pages in, but I didn't guess like the full extent of it. So there were still some elements that did surprise me. I just don't feel like I enjoyed this one as much, and I don't know whether it's because it hinges on a pre-established relationship, which makes me a little bit concerned about reading All Your Perfects later, which is a second chance romance. But I'm not very good with books that have pre-established relationships, and I think that's because my favorite tropes are like enemies to lovers and also slow burn, which you're not going to get in something that's like a second chance romance, because, or like this where they're already together, like it does a run through of the beginning of their relationship, but it is only like a very brief run through. So I wasn't super invested in the relationship, and then like I said, the main character, the guy leads, his behavior is like real dodgy throughout this for good reason. And I was right about the plot twist doing the thing where it kind of made everything okay, and I also said about how even though everything would be made okay, it would still be sus, because at the time that it was happening he didn't know what the plot twist was, so he didn't know that everything was okay. It kind of worked out in a way that does excuse his behavior, but still, like when I was reading it, I wasn't like super enjoying it. Also, more content warnings for like eating disorders, mental health things like anxiety, panic attacks, all that kind of stuff. I don't know, it was kind of like in the romantic thriller genre, and so like it definitely has problematic content, but like when has that ever stopped me reading or enjoying a romance before? I just didn't feel as invested in this one, which sucks because I was really excited to read Layla. I haven't car-piled it yet because it is nearly 10:40, and I need to get ready for the day, which I'm doing now. I shouldn't really be putting my makeup on before I brush my teeth, but I couldn't be bothered going upstairs when I was here right next to my makeup. I'm going to put my makeup on, brush my teeth, get dressed, and I'm actually going to nip to the butcher because I've been thinking for a while. We got a toasty machine in like October. I don't know if I like told you guys because it's not really relevant to anything aside from that I'm obsessed with melted cheese, but we got a toasty machine in like October, and since then I've pretty much eaten a toasty every day, and I really want to make a breakfast toasty, so essentially like bacon, sausage, egg. I don't think I can fit a hash brown on there as well, and then a bit of cheese. And I've just been too lazy to actually go, because we get HelloFresh and then we just buy like the same lunch food, which is like roast chicken, cheese, tuna, and I make toasties. Curtis has extra stuff like soup and that, and then we also have like a backup supply of food in the freezer. So with HelloFresh we have the 5 meals a week, and then I either go out and get food for the other 2 days of the week, or we use the backup of freezer food or something that we've got. Sometimes we eat out or we get a takeaway. So I don't have any food in really. I don't have any bacon or sausages. I do have eggs. So what I'm gonna do is continue to get ready, go to the butcher's, get some sausages and eggs, which shouldn't take me too long because it's not far away, and try and make a breakfast toasty and be back in time for sprint, so I have an hour and 20 minutes. I should be able to do it, it's just I might be in a little bit of a mad rush at the end, but because I have sprints until 7, we're not going to be eating dinner until like 7:30, 8, so I want something substantial to tide me over, and I think a breakfast toasty might do it, because if I eat a lot of food early in the day, or like a substantial meal earlier in the day, I tend not to be hungry or want to eat until like very late on. But obviously I haven't car-piled, so I don't have a rating for this. My gut is saying like 3 stars at the minute, but as soon as I do that, whenever I get round to doing that, I will let you guys know, and I'll also let you know a little bit more about All Your Perfects when I get into that as well. Maybe both at the same time. We'll see how it goes. So we're at 11:30 now. The breakfast toasties have been consumed and they were very, very good. I didn't put enough cheese on though because they were so full, because I went to the butcher. It's like a piece of bacon is like the size of a piece of bread. So I just put like one of everything on and a little bit of cheese. I don't think I quite put enough cheese on it, but I do welcome the heartburn that I'm gonna have for the rest of the day. My body can't handle bacon like it used to, so it gives me heartburn, but it depends how it's cooked. I did degrease it quite a bit, so hopefully it won't hit me, but then I'm also at risk from the sausages as well. So I don't know why I've just come and sat in here. There's literally no reason, but I just wanted to let you know that I have now core-piled Layla, and it came out at 3 stars. But I also wanted to say, because I keep forgetting, this is actually the first book that I've read off my Bookopoly TBR, and it is the first book that was put on my Bookopoly TBR in 2022, and it was for the prompt to read a book that is on my 30 before 30 list, so I'm real happy that I can check that off now. And Layla was also a gift from Ben, so thank you very much, Ben, for gifting it to me. Enjoyed it more for the shock factor than the actual story or the romance, so I'm hoping that I'm gonna get real into the romance in All Your Perfects. I imagine it's gonna have some sort of plot twist in there, because the thing I love about Colleen Hoover is that she writes really angsty, dramatic romances with some shocking plot twists. Like the majority, if not all of her books, are problematic in some way. As I said earlier, literally does not bother me, but I'm hoping that it's one that I can get real into the emotion and the angst of the romance and then have that little plot twist in there as well. Day 2 in the 24-hour readathon. I can't do it, can you do it?
Day 2 in the 24-hour readathon. No.
Oh, we tried. How far in are you?
I'm in.
You're in.
Closer.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
You having a good time?
Because yesterday I stopped just before mid-chapter before the action happened.
You excited to get into that action?
Yes.
That hot steamy
I'm nearly
action?
finished here.
How many pages you got left?
200 maybe.
You might just do it.
600. No, 120.
Wow, you got it. You smashed it. You've done it. What are you doing when you finish?
Don't know.
Starting something else?
Well, yeah.
What are you starting?
Probably the next one.
Are you going straight into the book 3?
Why not?
I
That's
don't
what
know.
I did with this one.
I didn't know if you were going to take a break and read like The Last Kingdom or something.
Well, wobbly. I wobbly will take a break.
Wobbly will.
Because it'll take me a while maybe. Yeah. Read again after this one.
So we have 2 hours of the readathon left, just about. I just rolled a 10-minute sprint, so I was like, I'll just take this time to update you guys, because I'm now halfway through All Your Perfects, which sadly I don't think I'm gonna actually manage to finish it in the 24 hours. So I will be running over with this vlog a little bit, but oh my god, I really like this book, but it is hurting me. So I knew it was a second chance romance. I knew obviously that meant that the characters were struggling or like falling out of love with each other, but the way that this is written is so good. So we have 2 timelines. We have the past timeline where they met, which essentially they met because their partners were cheating on them with each other and they both found out at the same time, and then their relationship started, etc. And we also have a present timeline where their relationship just isn't, like their marriage is not good at all, and it all kind of seems to stem from the fact that the main character is struggling with conceiving. So they've tried a whole bunch of things like IVF. I think they've been trying for like the last 6 years, and the main character is just devastated by this, and they both are to some degree, but we're obviously reading from her perspective, and we see the reasons, like the places where their marriage is breaking down, but also her reasoning behind why she's behaving the way that she is and the way that he's responding to it, and oh my god, it hurts, which I didn't expect it to. And the romance elements in the past timeline are written really well in the typical Colleen Hoover way that I really enjoy in the books of hers that I've enjoyed, which is most of them. And then it's also giving me, it ends with those vibes, and the way that the present timeline is written in a way that feels very realistic, but is also like really painful to read, like from the first chapter or like the second chapter of the present timeline. I've struggled with it in terms of it being like a hard read, and I think it's because you're getting the characters in a monologue, so she's telling the truth to the reader, like the things that you won't see like on television if you're watching the breakdown of a marriage. Like they tend to, or like in real life, you tend to hide the truth from your partner of why you're feeling a certain way and like the knock-on effects that things have, whereas you're reading it all in this, and it just hurts. It really hurts. The last bit I read was particularly difficult. It's really getting me in the feels. I know somebody in the sprint said that this book made them sob, so I'm hoping that's not me. But I guess we'll find out. And content warnings in this, of course, for infertility, because it is mentioned in detail and it really goes into how the main character feels about this 6-year period where she's been trying to conceive. So really enjoying it, but hurting me. Curtis, how you doing?
Good. How are you? My book was good.
Did you finish it?
I did finish it.
And how did you feel?
I'm excited for the next one.
How many stars?
Put 4 on Goodreads, but I wanted to put 5, which makes no sense.
Why did Hamilton just run upstairs and then howl? Do you like it more than Akatar?
Yeah.
Well.
Only because, like, no, yeah. I feel like I have more to it.
Okay. Well, book 3 definitely has more to it because it's like 800 pages.
Oh boy.
Maybe longer. It might be like 900. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to reread that one before we make a video about it because I've only read it once.
Wow. Wow.
Well, I reread the books every time the next in the series is installed, but obviously with that one, I didn't have to reread that again because there was no further books in the series. And A Court of Silver Flames is the start of a new story arc and I didn't have time to reread the entire series, so I didn't. That's how the readathon is going. Curtis has dipped out now, he's playing FIFA, and I'm going to try my best to get through as much of this as possible in the next 2 hours. Hello, so it is 9 p.m. The readathon ended a couple of hours ago, but I still had about, I think, 80 pages left of my book when it finished. So I made dinner, watched a little bit of TV, we started watching Parks and Rec, and I've just finished out my book. Gave it 5 stars. Really liked it. Not something I can relate to at all. Really does center on infertility. If you have any content warnings that you need regarding anything to do with pregnancy, babies, infertility, definitely be wary going into this if you know that that's something that is going to affect you, because it has that topic on multiple different levels and it is like a first-hand account. Like I said, you get like the inside inner monologues of the character, which makes it a particular harrowing read to the point where like I can't relate to any of this. I don't know if I want kids. Maybe one day. I'm not like set on not having them, but it's definitely not a priority for me. So I couldn't relate to any of it, but it was still very emotional. Loved the romantic elements of this as well. I would say that this is now my second favorite Colleen Hoover book after It Ends With Us. Very similar vibes in that it puts you in the shoes of a character that is really going through it and who is in a position that you would never want yourself to be in, but it does it in a way where you really feel for them and you experience the entire thing along with them, and it really hits you in the feels that way. So it's knocked November 9, which I love for shock value, off the number 2 spot. And I think that this vlog just really shows the spectrum of Colleen Hoover books to me. I have rated Colleen Hoover books every star rating from 1 to 5. Most of them fall in at 4. I have quite a few 3s, a handful of 5s, and I think at least 1 2-star and 1 1-star, but this one didn't love so much. I know that it was going for the romantic thriller aspect, so we're obviously expecting some questionable morals there, some pretty shocking stuff, but just because I just couldn't get on the same page as the main character, and I don't think that the plot twist paid off, especially as I predicted it pretty early in. This, exactly what I love from Colleen Hoover. I really loved it in this. I was falling in love along with the main character in the past timeline, and then the breakdown of the relationship also was really painful to read about, considering it was a pre-established relationship, and obviously I hadn't had the experience of following the romance beforehand. I was following it alongside the breakdown of the relationship as well. So if you do like It Ends With Us, then this is a Colleen Hoover that you might enjoy. I would say, actually, surprisingly, even though I didn't love it, this is more along the lines of like a hybrid between Verity and November 9, I would say. But very successful 24-hour readathon. I think I've just read an extra 80 pages, which puts my total for the day, or like the 2 days, the 24 hours, at about 600 pages. But at the end of the readathon, I had read, I think it was like 522, which is more than I usually read. This one is also on my Bookopoly TBR to read a romance, so I've checked that off. And it was also a gift from Harry, so thank you very much, Harry, for gifting this to me. Ben and Harry are both my patrons as well, as soon as I did this readathon with my patrons. I'm glad that I also managed to read books gifted by you guys, so thank you to everybody who participated in the readathon. Thank you to my patrons in general for being supportive, wonderful people, and also like participating in stuff like this, because I know it's hard like when you got other stuff going on to make time to spend an entire 24 hours reading. So I'm super appreciative for all of you guys, and just I'm glad that you all had a good time, and thank you to Ben and Harry specifically for sending me these books. So I'm gonna go work out, play some Fortnite, probably not gonna read very much for the rest of the evening up until I get into bed, and then I'll return to my current read, which is Dragonhaven. We did roll a double, it was for 10 minutes, so I only read 12 pages of, oh no, it was for 20 minutes actually, and I think I read 12 pages of Dragonhaven. So I have read a little bit in that as well during this 24 hours, but not very much, and I will be returning to that later this evening. The next vlog that you're going to see on my channel is going to be a little bit out of sync timeline wise, because you're going to have the week that preceded this vlog and also the week after it, where I'm reading predominantly fantasy, all fantasy apart from one fantasy romance, so keep an eye out for that if you are at all interested. But aside from that, guys, I do hope you've enjoyed this vlog if you made it this far. If you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you will go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.